All right. I'd like to thank you all for your patience today. I'm Will Thompson, United States Attorney for Southern District, West Virginia. Behind me, I have Pat Kelly, who's the RAC with HSI. Got Trooper First Class Michelle Schaefer of the West Virginia State Police, who's a task force officer and was working on the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. I also have Jenny Harold, who is the appellate chief of my office here and prosecuted this case. We're here today to talk about the sentencing of Todd Christopher Roatsey. He was a former counselor at Pinch Elementary here in Kanawha County. Today, he was sentenced to 25 years for attempted production of child pornography and attempted enticement of a minor. Mr. Roatsey, who was 43 years old, was posing as an 18-year-old boy while using a Snapchat instant messaging application to communicate with multiple minor females. Our investigation showed that he started communicating with Snapchat back in January of 2020 with a girl he believed to be 16, a second female who also he knew was a minor. He persuaded each of those victims to record numerous sexually explicit videos that depicted each female masturbating. He also sent both girls videos of himself masturbating. He further used this Snapchat account to communicate with several minor females he knew through his position as a Pinch Elementary School counselor. These communications included more than 100 Snapchat conversations that he recorded with these two minor females, both approximately 12 years old, and one of whom was then a student at Pinch Elementary. During these conversations, he told the girls they were hot and sexy and received numerous videos of minor girls during TikTok-style dance routines, wearing limited clothing. He also admitted to distributing, receiving, possessing, and assessing child pornography, including images and videos depicting infants and toddlers through a variety of media between October 9th, 2019 through July 16th, 2021. Specifically, he possessed child porn on devices seized from his residence, including his cell phone, and on an encrypted cloud-based file storage Mega. Using both Mega and the messaging application KIK, Roatsey also distributed various images and videos of prepubescent minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct to other individuals. On October 28, 2021, the defendant deleted his Snapchat account he used to engage in these activities within hours of Homeland Security Investigations executing a search warrant at his residence and seizing numerous electronic devices, numerous of which were found to contain child pornography. By deleting the account, he obstructed justice. There was a particular powerful letter written by a former teacher at Pinch Elementary, which stated the children of the Elkview area, everybody's reminiscent of the floods of a couple years ago, had gone through a lot, not only with the floods themselves, but the fact I don't think they have their new schools built yet. I think they're getting close to getting them built. Not only did they have to go through that trauma, the trauma that Mr. Roatsey inflicted on them has made their lives even worse. Judge Copenhaver was a judge. He found that incalculable damage was done to these children, that he preyed on victims. This case was very disturbing. There was some very deeply disturbing playground video that Mr. Roatsey recorded. And they were made worse. I mean, this is a child counselor, elementary school counselor. This is the person where if a child is having trouble at home, trouble at school, trouble with a bully, where they go where they go talk to this counselor. Oftentimes in our community, schools are only constant for a lot of children. Not to delve into the opioid epidemic and other epidemics, but a lot of times school is the safe place. And the fact that Mr. Roatsey made this not a safe place I found to be very horrific. My own children go to public schools. The fact that they're going to public school, they should be able to trust. You should be able to trust as a parent when your child goes to a public school. Mr. Roatsey eroded that trust. I found the crime here to be particularly horrific. And I hope Mr. Roatsey in his 25 years of incarceration will at least learn how to take some responsibility for his actions. I don't know, unfortunately, with these children, they'll be paying the price for this for years to come. I'd now like to introduce Pat Kelly from HSI, who's going to talk about his department's investigation.
Good evening. One of Homeland Security Investigations' top priorities is to protect the public from crimes of victimization. HSI's child exploitation investigations are a central component to this mission. HSI is committed to utilizing our vast authority, international footprint, and strong government and non-government partnerships to identify and rescue child victims, identify and apprehend offenders who commit child sex offenses, prevent transnational child sex crimes, and help make the internet a safer place for children. HSI personnel work tirelessly to protect children from exploitation by predators who are involved in the production, distribution, and possession of child sexual abuse material. We employ the latest technology to collect evidence, track activities of individuals and organized groups who seek to sexually exploit children using the dark web, peer-to-peer chats, chat rooms, and other internet-based platforms. Todd Roatsey abused his position of trust to victimize the most vulnerable members of our society. Predators like Mr. Roatsey exploit the very system put into place to prevent children from being subjects of abuse. Today, he will begin the process of repaying his debt to society. HSI is dedicated to protecting children against sexual predators who seek to take advantage of their innocence, and we will not allow any crime against children to go unpublished. HSI is proud to have partnered with the West Virginia State Police, the United States Attorney's Office, to bring Mr. Roatsey to justice.
In closing, I'd like to commend the work of both the HSI, also the West Virginia State Police, who provided task force officers. My AUSA, Jenny Harrell, did a wonderful job prosecuting this case. I hope the parents who are watching this pay attention. Take a moment to talk to your kids. Take a moment to look at your children's cell phones, iPads, whatever it might be. If you see things, Snapchat is not a good thing. I know it. A lot of people like it. Lots of bad things happen. The messenger Kik, I really don't know anything good about Kik. It seems to be used by these type of criminals on a pretty consistent basis. But take time, talk with your kids, find out what's going on. Read your kids' text messages, read your kids' phones, see what's going on. Do I have any questions?
Can you give a comment just on the sentence as a whole? I know you all were pushing for that 35 years.
I think the judge gave him an appropriate sentence. Obviously, we wanted more, but that's the way our criminal justice system is set up. I do think Mr. Roatsey was a predator, and we were looking to get as much time as possible on him.
This man was celebrated just a few years before all this came to light. Was there any way, like, he used his awards, his influence to kind of run under the table or, like, go unnoticed?
It's a good question. Don't know necessarily the answer to it, but I do think he took advantage. I think he chose a career path that would give him access to young girls and put him in a position of trust in the community, so he would have access to his victims. I think this was a calculated plan on his part to create and perpetuate these horrific acts he committed on these victims.
I know we may never truly know the full extent of how many victims there were, but I know 4 did get restitution. So in this case specific, what he was convicted of, would you say there were 4 victims?
At least 4. And this is not something you just get caught the first time you're doing it either. I think this has been a lifetime pattern. Any other questions?
Can you say if those 4 were local? I know we had heard maybe in court that some were overseas even.
I believe 2 were local for sure, we knew.
None of the victims in the indictment were located.
Right.
The 4 victims who received restitution were identified through NCMEC.
Okay. I don't want to give a lot more because they are victims, and I want to try to protect them as much as possible. There was even, because of the horrific of this crime, families, some of them were even reluctant to come into the courtroom. But Mr. Roatsey's a predator. He'll be doing 25 years. You have to register as a sex offender for life. Is that correct?
In the state of West Virginia.
Yes. All right. Any other questions? Thank you again for your patience.